A quick search on the internet reveals hundreds and thousands of creepy photos that seemingly have no explanation. Many vintage photos claim to have paranormal entities attached to them, though this is often explained away by double or overexposure. Creepy creature sightings often turn out to be hoaxes, and some mysterious photos are merely the result of a dirty lens. But some scary and creepy photos kept many people scratching their heads before they were finally solved decades later. Number 5. STS-88 was NASA's first space shuttle mission to the International Space Station. On the 4th of December 1998, the Space Shuttle Endeavour was launched in order to take the first American module, known as the Unity node, to the station in a mission that would take just short of 122 days to complete. A creepy photo taken during the mission seems to show what many people believe to be the Black Knight satellite. Many ufologists claim that this object is an artificial satellite that was created by extraterrestrials, and that it's been orbiting our planet for about 13,000 years. It's believed that the theory originated from natural repeating extraterrestrial sources that were supposedly heard by Nikola Tesla during radio experiments that he was carrying out in 1899. Long delayed echoes that were first heard by a Norwegian amateur radio operator have also contributed to the theory. In 1954, a UFO researcher claimed that the United States Air Force had reported that they detected 2 satellites orbiting Earth. This was during a time when no country had the technological ability to launch a satellite into orbit, and so the theory gained more traction. It would later be noted, however, that the researcher was promoting a book on UFOs at the time, and that he had probably written the reports as a publicity stunt. Many conspiracy theorists still insist that the image does, in fact, show the Black Knight satellite. But the truth is far less exciting. When the image was taken, the ISS was still under construction, and the American team was on its way to attach their module to that of the Russian team. They had taken 4 thermal covers with them, which were to be wrapped around a set of pins that are used to attach the modules to the shuttle while it's being moved. But while the module is being transported, one of the covers came undone and floated away. And that is the object that can be seen in the photos. It would eventually fall from orbit and burn up in the Earth's atmosphere. Number 4. On the 13th of June, 1993, police were called to the Titicaca Reservoir in New York City when a deceased man was spotted in the water. When the man was retrieved, it was found that he had no identification on him, and the only clue to his identity was a vintage photo in a glass frame that he had with him. It was also found that he had about 38 pounds of rocks in a backpack that was still strapped to his back. When police checked local missing persons reports, no matches came back, and they were at a loss of who this man could be. The photo, which showed an elderly man holding a toddler in his arms, was still their only lead, and they assumed the man in the water must be the young boy in the photo, as he was wearing clothing from the 50s and 60s in the picture. When they scrutinized the photo more closely, they noticed a vintage light fixture in the background that they assumed was from Massachusetts. They decided to circulate the photo in the Berkshires and sent it to the Berkshire Eagle newspaper, who printed it. A retired teacher named Terry Yakovich, who had just moved to Pittsfield from Bellport in New York, recognized a building behind the figures in the photo as one that she had known when she was living in Long Island. It would then come to light that the man's family had lived in the same spot where the photo was taken many years ago. Police would also learn that the light fixture had been installed throughout western Massachusetts decades ago, and had also been installed on Long Island's South Shore. But what caught Yakovich's attention was the church auditorium in the village where she had lived for 47 years, and she instantly knew where the photo was taken. She contacted police, who were able to find the exact spot, now an empty lot. The land ownership history was tracked down through town deeds, and found that the house behind the man and the toddler once belonged to the Bookless family before it was destroyed in a fire. The man that was found was named Andrew Bookless, and he was indeed the toddler in the photo, being held by his grandfather. His identity was officially confirmed by the Westchester County Medical Examiner's office, and it was found that he'd fallen through the ice on the reservoir months before he was discovered. His family was notified, and they told police that Andrew had a habit of disappearing for long periods of time. Hence, he wasn't reported missing for years after he disappeared. Number 3. A creepy photo found on Google Earth shows what seems to be a pentagram measuring 1,200 feet in diameter, etched into the ground on the southern shore of the Upper Tabal Reservoir in the wilderness of Kazakhstan. And upon its discovery, theories were rife as to why it was there and who might have created it. Some people speculated that it was an ancient ritual site. Others believed that it may have been the entrance to the underworld, but no one was certain why the symbol would be placed in such an isolated area that seemingly had nothing close by. Areas around the symbol show almost no other signs of human habitation, the closest settlement being about 12 miles away to the east. The area, however, is riddled with ancient archaeological ruins, such as Bronze Age settlements, burial grounds, and other ruins. To add to the confusion, when zooming in on the image on Google Maps, 2 other areas show up that have been marked by previous visitors. One spot named Adam and the other Lucifer. But the mystery would finally be solved when the pentagram's true purpose was revealed by Emma Usmanova, an archaeologist who had been working in the area for years. She explained that the symbol was the outline of a park made in the form of a star. She further clarified that it wasn't some omen of evil or the entrance to hell, but that the star symbol was in fact popularly used during the Soviet era, when Kazakhstan was still part of the Soviet Union, before its dissolution in 1991. It was common at the time for buildings, flags, and monuments to be decorated with stars, and the park, which is now being overtaken by weeds, bushes, and trees, would have been a popular camping spot back in the day. Number 2. Since 1978, residents of Cornwall, England, were on cautious lookout after reports were made of a big Black Panther-like cat that was spotted in the area, specifically in the Bodmin Moor, which in itself is a creepy, isolated place. More than 60 sightings of the creature were reported, and it was said to be between 5 and 7 feet in length, with white-yellow eyes. The rumors were quickly justified when livestock in the area started to go missing, and in some cases found after seemingly being hunted by a large animal. At first, scientists were skeptical of the sightings, as there would need to be a number of the beasts in the area in order to maintain a breeding population, and since the climate and food supply wouldn't support such a creature's survival. But when giant cat-like paw prints were found in October of 2016 near St. Estelle, it became fairly certain that there was indeed a massive cat lurking in the area. The print was found by a man named John Parkinson, and when he used a tape measurer to measure the size of the print, it was found to be 4 inches wide, confirming that whatever the creature was, it was massive. A man then reported that 2 months earlier, he saw a creature leaping out in front of him as he was driving in the area. He was relieved when they too found a set of prints because he was certain no one would believe his story. In July of 2013, a salesman called Sid Yates saw the beast at about 9 a.m. when he walked out of his house, He looked up the street and about 50 yards away and saw what looked like a black Labrador, but with longer legs and a flat nose. It was the third time that he had seen the cat. Since then, many people have managed to take creepy photos of the beast, whose existence was by that time fairly certain. But in 2016, it was finally revealed that the cats are indeed real, and that they have been there for decades. Benjamin Mee, the owner of the Dartmoor Zoo, came forward and told police that 3 pumas were scheduled to arrive there nearly 40 years ago. The cats were being transported to Dartmoor after Plymouth Zoo was forced to close down, and rather than having her favorite breeding pair sent to another zoo, Plymouth Zoo owner Mary Chipperfield decided to release them into the wild along with a younger male to keep them company. Mee confirmed that he was supposed to take ownership of the 3 pumas at the time, but that they never arrived. Chipperfield would not have been legally obliged to report what she had done, as releasing exotic animals into the wild was not illegal in England until 1981. Number 1. One of the most iconic creepy photos of a ghost sighting is the photo of the Brown Lady from Raynham Hall. It's believed that the photo shows the spirit of Dorothy Walpole, the sister of the first Prime Minister, Sir Robert. She was known as a notorious society beauty who caused a scandal when she entered into an affair with a penniless lord before marrying an elderly widower. She would eventually pass away at the age of 40 under mysterious circumstances. But her infamy lived on when a photo was taken in Raynham Hall in 1936, more than 2 centuries after her passing, and it was hailed ever since by paranormal experts as the most compelling photograph of a spirit that has ever been taken. It has served as the cornerstone of claims for the supernatural for many decades, and until now, there has been no alternate explanation for the ghostly figure that was captured on a staircase in the 400-year-old building. But Alan Murdy, a barrister and researcher of the supernatural, has now found evidence that proves the photo doesn't actually show a spirit at all, a fact that will not sit well for those who have considered the vintage photo as the holy grail of spiritual photography for so long. In 2011, Murdy discovered a folder in the manuscripts department of Cambridge University's library, detailing a massive investigation undertaken by the Society for Psychical Research into the photograph shortly after it was taken, and the explanation is rather mundane. Evidence found in the folder includes information revealing that the camera used to take the photo had leaked light into the photographic plate. This would have caused an abnormality in the image, and it was mistaken for a spirit for 75 years. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you liked this video, be sure to hit that like button. Also, don't forget to subscribe and click that notification bell to keep up to date with all of our future uploads. But I've been Ty Knotts, and I'll catch you guys in the next video.